This video covers section 9.5, adding, subtracting, and multiplying radical expressions. Objective 2, multiply radical expressions. When multiplying radical expressions, we model the process after the way we did it with algebraic expressions. When we had a 3x squared in front of a binomial, we distributed the 3x squared across. 3x squared times 4x to the fourth is 12x to the sixth, and 3x squared times 6x to the fifth is 18x to the seventh. So then if we're going to do that with radical expressions, we would multiply 3 square root x times 4 square root x over the minus sign and get 3 root x times 6 square root x to the fifth. We would then use our product property of radicals and get 3 times 4 is 12 square root of x squared minus 3 times 6 is 18 square root of x to the sixth. X times x to the fifth is x to the sixth. Then we'd get 12 times square root x squared is absolute value of x, but in this case, we'll assume that x is non-negative and get 12x minus 18 square root x to the sixth. 6 divided by 2 is 3. This gives us 18x cubed. So we use all the properties from algebra. Square root 5 times 3 is 3 times the square root of 5. And square root 5 times 4 square root of 5, we get to put those 5s underneath the same radical and get square root of 25. Square root of 25 is 5, and that gives us minus 20. So we have 3 square root of 5 minus 20. If we have cube root of 2 times 3 plus cube root of 4, we distribute the cube root of 2 times the 3 and get 3 times the cube root of 2. When we have cube root of 2 times cube root of 4, we can multiply any radicals together as long as their index is the same, which gives us cube root of 8. Cube root of 8 is 2, giving us 3 cube root of 2 plus 2. So be careful. Contrast adding radicals with multiplying radicals. When we add radicals, we have to have the same index and same radicand, root 5. And that gives us 11 root 5. When multiplying, you just need the same index on your radical. You multiply the numbers in front, giving us 24, and you multiply the numbers inside, giving us 25, or square root 25. So ask yourself these questions. How must the radicals be like to be added? You need the same index and same radicand. How must the radicals be like to be multiplied? You just need the same index. So square root of 2 plus the square root of 2 is 2 square root of 2. Square root of 2 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 6. Here are 2 practice problems for you to try. I encourage you to press pause in your video and work these out, and come back when you're ready to see the solution. Now that you've had a chance to work these out, I'll work these out with you. We distribute the root 6 to the 3 and the root 6 to the 5 root 6. We put the 3 times the root 6 in front, and this becomes minus 5 square root of 6 times 6, or 36. So we get 3 square root of 6 minus 5 times 6, or 3 square root of 6 minus 30. When we multiply cube root of 12 times this difference, we have 3 times the cube root of 12. Since the 3 doesn't have a radical around it, you cannot put it with the 12. It's got to be on the outside. Minus 3, or cube root of 12 times 2, which is 24. 3 cube root of 12 minus 24 is 8 times 3, giving us cube root of 8, which is 2 cube root of 3. For the next type of multiplication, we have two binomials. When we have two binomials, we use the FOIL method. The product of the first, 2x times 3x. The product of the outsides, 2x times 4. The product of the insides, negative 2 times 3x. And the product of the last terms, negative 2 times 4. We simplify each of those. 6x squared, 8x minus 6x is 2x, and minus 8. So if we apply that same procedure with two binomial radical expressions, we take the product of the first, 3 times 2. The outsides, negative 3 times 3 root 7. The insides, 2 root 7 times 2. And the outsides, 2 root 7 times, the last terms, 2 root 7 times 3 root 7. Now that's going to give us 6 minus 9 root 7 plus 4 root 7. Negative 9 plus 4, those are like terms, so that gives us negative 5 square root 7. This gives us negative 6 square root 49, which is negative 6 times 7, which is negative 42. Now 6 minus 42 is negative 36. So multiplying, we apply the FOIL method. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 root 5, negative, minus root 5 times 3, and that'll be a plus root 5 times 4 root 5. We get 6 minus 8 square root of 5 minus 3 square root of 5 plus 4 square root of 25. And that's 4 times 5. So we have plus 20. That gives us 6 plus 20 is 26, minus 11 square root of 5. So by now you should be recognizing things like square root of 5 times square root of 5 is actually just 5. Square root of 3 times square root of 3 should just be 3, because that's square root of 3 times the square root of 3, which is the square root of 9. Now we have plus root 3 times root 7, which is going to give us root 21. And then we have negative root 7 times root 3, which is negative root 21. And then negative root 7 times root 7, which just gives us 7, because that's root 49. Now this is a nice answer because square root of 21 minus square root of 21, they cancel out. And 3 minus 7 is negative 4. And this leads me to 2 practice problems for you to try. I encourage you to press pause in your video and work these 2 out, and come back when you're ready to see the solution. Now that you've had a chance to work these out, I will work these out with you. We take 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times negative 5 root 6 minus 3 square root of 6 times 3. And that'll be negative to positive 3 root 6 times 5 root 6. 12 minus 20, square root of 6 minus 9, square root 6, plus 15. That's going to give us square root of 36, which is just 6. And 6 times 15 is 90. So our like terms are 12 and 90, 102, minus 29, square root of 6. And letter B. Notice how we have the same 2 terms with a minus and a plus in the middle of them. Square root of 5 times square root of 5. That's the square root of 25, which is 5. Square root of 5 times 10. That's the square root of 50, which is 25 and 2, which gives us 5 square root of 2. Minus square root of 10 times square root of 5. That's also minus square root of 50, which is minus 5 square root of 2. Minus square root of 10 times square root of 10, that's minus square root of 100, or minus 10. The middle 2 terms cancel, and we have 5 minus 10, which is negative 5. So notice in both of these letter B's, we ended up with a real number, nothing with radicals in them, and that's a property of taking the minus and the plus of the same 2 terms. This will always be a real number that is rational, meaning there will be no square roots left over. All right, and then the last one, last type. Remember, when you square a binomial, you rewrite it 2 times, and then you FOIL it. 3x times 3x is 9x squared. 3x times 4 is 12x, and another 12x. So there's always 2 of those. And then plus 16 giving us 9x squared plus 24x plus 16. To square a binomial, we rewrite it twice. So we'll rewrite this one twice as 3 minus 4 root 5 times 3 minus 4 square root of 5. We've got 3 times 3, which is 9. 3 times negative 4 root 5 is negative 12 root 5. And minus 4 root 5 times 3 is minus 12 root 5. And then we have minus 4 root 5 times minus 4 root 5, which is a plus. 4 times 4 is 16, and root 5 times root 5 is root 25. So that's going to give us 16 times 5, which is 80. And so this gives us 89 minus 24 square root of 5. Letter B, we rewrite this 2 times. Root 3 minus 3 root 7 times itself. Root 3 times root 3 is square root of 9. Root 3 times negative 3 root 7 is negative 3 square root of 21. Negative 3 root 7 times root 3 is negative 3 square root of 21. And negative 3 root 7 times negative 3 root 7 is positive 9 root 49. This gives us 3 minus 3 square root of 21 minus another 3 square root of 21 plus 9 times 7. So this gives us 63 plus 3 is 66 minus 6 square root of 21. And this leads us to 2 practice problems for you to try. I encourage you to press pause on your video and work these out, and come back when you're ready to see the solution. Now that you've had a chance to work these out, I'll work these out with you. The square on the binomial says to repeat the binomial twice and multiply by FOIL. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 5 root 6 is negative 15 square root of 6. Negative 5 root 6 times 3 is another negative 15 square root of 6. And negative 5 root 6 times negative 5 root 6 is positive 25. Root 6 times root 6 is root 36. Root 36 is 6, and times 25 is 150. So we have 9 plus 150 is 159. Minus 15 minus 15 is minus 30 square root of 6. And 2 root 7 plus root 10 squared, we rewrite 2 root 7 plus root 10 2 times. And now we FOIL. 2 root 7 times 2 root 7 is 4 square root of 49 plus 2 root 7 times root 10 is 2 square root of 70. Square root of 10 times 2 square root of 7 is 2 square root of 70. And square root of 10 times square root of 10 is square root of 100. So this is going to give us 4 times 7 plus 2 square root of 70 plus 2 square root of 70, and this is going to give us 10. So we have the like terms 28 and 10, which is 38, and 2 root 70 plus 2 root 70 is 4 square root of 70. This concludes the video for section 9.5, adding, subtracting, and multiplying radical expressions. Objective 2, multiply radical expressions.